Hello everyone, whoever you are, whenever you are, wherever you are. This is my first preliminary video, preliminary to the main video of my presentation, and it is a sort of a methodological preface to my main talk. Philosophers don't often start with a methodological preface, but I've noticed over the past couple of years that it's needed, or at least very useful, to explain exactly how you are approaching a certain topic, or how you are you going to argue a certain point. In his book Understanding Institutions, Francisco Guala noted that a lot of different things are going on under the banner of social ontology, which is such a good sign. It's a sign of health and diversity, but it can also lead to a lot of confusion, and this methodological preface is meant to avoid that confusion. My approach to social ontology is guided by John Searle's opening question of his 2010 book. And he explicitly frames his research there against what he calls the overarching project or problem of contemporary philosophy, and that is, how can we reconcile a certain picture we have of ourselves as human beings with free will and consciousness and political obligations and institutional reality and morality with the picture that contemporary science gives us of physical particles in fields of force. How can we reconcile those two? How can we understand what the fundamental nature and mode of existence of human social institutions is against this scientific picture? And it is also the unabashedly metaphysical problem, the metaphysical aspect of social ontology that I'm working with, that I'm seeking to answer. In trying to answer that problem, that metaphysical problem, that metaphysical aspect of social ontology, I am using the method of Daniel Dennett, what Daniel Dennett called the method of the sculptor, and which he, as far as I know, introduced in his 1984 book Elbow Room on free will. And there he says that there's a risk among, especially analytic philosophers, to run into what he calls premature formalization, that you're approaching a specific problem too quickly with very precise conceptual distinctions and very rigorous argumentation. But, so he warns, if you don't make contact with the real philosophical issue, there's a risk, and he sees it as a very real risk, at least in that debate, that a lot of philosophical energy and time is wasted on arguments and concepts that don't really track the main philosophical issue. So he sees the method of the sculptor, he used to be a sculptor before he became a philosopher, as well. If you want to start sculpting, you first have to rough out the block and stand back often and squint a bit to see if you are approaching on the dimly seen final product that you want to sculpt. And only after you have gotten the main shapes right, then you start doing the finer the work, the nitty-gritty work, or of getting your conceptual distinctions very precise and your arguments very, very rigorous. And he notes that a lot of people don't have patience with this kind of method. They want clear conceptual distinctions and rigorous arguments from the very start, which says that, well, often we can't do this, and if we try to do it, we run the real risk of missing, of failing to make contact with the real philosophical issue. So I propose for social ontology, at least for this talk I'm giving, to stand back a bit and to squint, to see if we are closing in on the dimly seen final product. If you are asking this kind of big metaphysical questions about institutional and social reality, are we indeed closing in on the dimly seen final product? And this kind of squinting indeed means a lack of the kind of rigor or conceptual clarity that a lot of people understandably want, but that I think are too soon at this stage in trying to answer these questions.